voglio prendere, però non c'è proprio una
So
bella...
thank you so much for this opportunity, and excuse me for my English. It's
No,
not
your
good.
English is better than my Italian.
First question, we are facing a completely different running shoe from the others on the market. What is the real secret of Nike React Infinity Run for you?
It's the foam that Kylie was talking about. So the combination of taking the React foam, which is very durable, very responsive, but it's ultimately comes down to the geometry. So it's thicker, so we provide more cushioning protection. Sometimes you have to balance soft and resilient and height with stability. So we widen the nets to make sure it has a stable ride. And then we learned a lot as we worked on the Vaporfly around that front. We call it the rocker, or you see the toe spring, some people call it. And the way that you get the transition to make sure that some thick shoes can get a little bulky, make sure it has fluid transition, stability, and the ride. That's the combination of what we hoped would reduce injuries, and as you can see, we had a phenomenal result.
Yeah. Do you think a shoe can really reduce the runner's injuries?
I do, but not by itself.
Okay.
So I think if you look at this study,
Yeah.
it reduced it by 52%, but we still had people get hurt. So clearly we're not there yet. I think what the future will see is they all had the same training program, and it's a training program that we've used for years as we help people get used to running injury, and that our partners have used it also. But we start to do more research on the training as an intervention. So how do different people respond to different training? And the reality is, for the last 30 years, the technology hasn't existed to do that at a one-to-one level. So you study big populations and you see. We're in this new era where we can start to do that individually. So we can ask you to train differently than, say, somebody else, and then measure the effects as we do the research. So we'll get more prescriptive with both training as well as footwear, because we can start to build footwear in other ways. But yeah, I don't think footwear by itself. Footwear plays a role. Recovery plays a huge role. Running form plays a huge role. If you run the same distance all the time, it plays a huge role. So much more work to be done.
Okay. What are the kinds of injuries that these running shoes can most significantly affect?
So we classified all the running injuries as just collectively. And the challenge of getting specific about the different ones, like most studies, the number one pain is around the knees. That you see that in almost every study, the number one area. But we looked at knee pain, muscle pain and soft tissue pain, so calf, Achilles tendonitis, plantar fasciitis. So we generally look at sort of foot, ankle, muscle, knees. But we just classified all the running, just how many runners injured versus how many. When you do statistics on big numbers, you never wish for an injury, but you need lots of injuries to do the statistical comparison. So we have to keep doing more work to be able to say, okay, this shoe does knees, this shoe does calves, this shoe, and maybe one shoe does more than one, but we're going to keep the work going.
Okay. On the Nike React Infinity Run, you use a rocker sole, as you say. Are you sure that this type of shoe don't damage the Achilles tendon and the calf?
We're confident in that, and the reason we are is because we've had similar rocker geometries now for several years. Excuse me, in the Vaporfly, and some people have talked about different rocker geometries or heel toe offsets, maybe giving their calf or Achilles tendon some problems. And sometimes you see that in people who run long distances. You know, sometimes in the past where we've made prototypes, we'll hear from an elite runner at mile 22, maybe my Achilles tendon wasn't feeling great. Not many people, I don't get to mile 22 to have that sensation. But as we've done a lot of prototyping, so it's not just the front, but the crash pad. We're confident. We've had thousands of hours of feedback from asterisk runners, as well as we have embedded researchers in Kaptagat in Kenya, where Eliud Kipchoge's camp and many of his runners run. So, and then the other one is just an objective measurement. We can measure ankle torque, which is a surrogate for strain on the Achilles tendon in the lab. So we're confident that's not increasing it.
Thank you. And just a curiosity, running shoes have between like 5 or 6 eyelets. By the shoes only has 4 on each side. Is there a technical reason you decrease this number, or?
To be honest, I don't have a definite answer. I know when we use the Flyknit upper, we're very confident. We have Flyknit uppers where we have no laces, and if you're not running on severe angles, it's actually there's quite good containment. So during the evolution of the product, we always get athlete feedback on containment and fit. And so I'm sure during the development process, we would have tried more, we would have tried less, and we would have landed on 4 because that would have been the best feedback that we have from the athletes. But I would say it's probably largely due to the flying and construction. The control we have now is it constantly, we started in 2012, but it just gets better and better and better.
What are the elements that can improve the stability of a shoe for you?
Yeah, I mean, there's different ways. Historically, the way you would do stability is you would use what they call a foot bridge, or different people call different things.
Yeah.
And you can do that either with different plastic or TPU pieces, and you can either do it on the outside of a midsole, or some of them actually go into the midsole. And you can also change the location, whether it's more to the rear foot or to the arch. So that's a classic way. Some people use dual density foams. So if you were to draw it sort of diagonally, use harder foam on the side. And in this shoe, what we do is we widen the nets. And historically, when you use stiff foams, people thought when you widen the net, you increase that lever arm on the foot, so maybe you put any more. So, one of the novel findings is, and this actually comes back from the work we did on Nike Free a long time ago. If you make it soft enough, you can actually go wider without increasing that lever arm. You don't increase pronation as people thought. You can actually allow a more smooth transition and reduce it. So it's a combination of the types of materials, the geometry, and then sort of the density.
First, you help runners get faster.
Yeah.
Then you create a shoe that helps prevent common overuse injuries in runners. What will your next target be?
We are always, I think, generally speaking, we want to make athletes better.
Okay.
We want to protect them and we want to inform them. We have this amazing new facility coming, but we also like to say that the world is our lab. We increasingly collect information on runners outside, and if you go back 10 years, we were very good at building shoes and making sure it got somewhere that you would have access. Now we look at the whole journey, and then a lot of our focus is certainly on female athletes. The journey that a man goes through is important. How do you get off the couch, make the decision, what made you choose that shoe? Now that you have it, how do you train and recover, and how are you going to use it, so on and so forth. The journey for women is also important, but has many more factors. There's hormonal cycle, there's different styles of running, different apparel needs, and so as we go on the journey, I think we're going to continue to be more holistic in our solutions for all athletes. So the North Star doesn't change, the way we tackle it is going to change, and the kinds of solutions we have available to both men and women will also continue to improve.
Last question.
Yes.
More generally, which way is the running shoe market going now?
Yeah, I know the team was talking about this before. I mean, there's depending on where you are in the globe, in China there's a massive surge in the amount of runners. It can be flat in other regions. Women are some of the fastest growing. Trail running continues to grow, which is amazing. Get people running, but also out in nature. So I think there's tons of opportunities still. I mean, for us, we have a mission. We say we have to make athletes better, but we want to make sport a daily habit. And if we're going to make sport daily, we want to see more people running. But there's also an antiquated, in order to run, you have to have the fancy shorts and the fancy shirt and the right shoes, and you have to go run and have a watch. But we want people to move, whether you're in a city. And I think you'll start to see more solutions for running in all the environments.
Thank you so
hopefully
much.
it's growing. We want it to grow. It's incredibly accessible as a sport.
Thank you so much.
Of course.